All right, if you're an agency owner, you know life is basically pain. So I'm going to show you how you can view all of your client data in one place to make fulfillment a lot less painful. Now, if you don't know me, my name's Adam. I've run an agency for the past 18 months. I actually quit recently to help other agencies reduce churn and improve their client reporting. So let's get into the main problems with running an agency right now. And I see two primary problems. All right, so first one is checking ad accounts. Okay, this could be the bane of my entire existence because look, let's be honest. All right, if we're checking an ad account, then we know that 95% of the time it's all good, right? You check on the ads, it's the same cost per lead, you know, it's all good, the leads are coming in and it's all good, you don't have to worry about it. But that 5% of the time it's not all good, okay? Because basically you check on the, 5% of the time you check on the ad account and their payment method that got declined because they're fucking broke, or the lead cost has shot up overnight or something's going terribly wrong. And so every once in a while you do have to check on the ad account to make sure it's, not everything's blowing up, because if you don't check on your client's ads and something does go wrong, well, it's pretty fucking embarrassing. And then the other annoying thing is you also have to remember which accounts to check. All right, so you end up, every agency owner has some fucked up Google sheet where it's a ledger of all their clients, and every time you onboard a client you have to make sure to add them to this list, and then every time you lose a client you have to make sure to remove them from the list, and that gets out of sync and it's just a pain in the ass. You basically have to go through and religiously manage which clients are actually active with your agency. So it's just a huge pain in the ass. Now, that's fine, right? Obviously, every agency does that and they kind of get through it, so it's fine. But I'm going to share something else that's actually quite annoying as well, and that says what happens after a lead is created, all right? Because this, I think, is the real root of churn. Obviously, getting leads is pretty fucking easy in 95% of markets. But you get those leads, and then what happens? Most agency owners have no fucking clue. You generate a lead, all right? We'll just write this down. You generate a lead, then what happens, all right? And you don't actually know. Now, the way to know is to go into GHL, look at every lead, every call, etc., and it becomes a huge pain in the ass because I keep saying pain in the ass, but it really is a pain in the ass, right? You have to go into each sub account. You have to look at all the leads that just got generated. Okay, what happened with this lead? What did they say on the phone? You're sitting there listening to phone calls. Hopefully you actually have a CSM that's listening to these calls for you, but it's still a huge fucking waste of time. I mean, I'm sure in the back of your head, you're like, all right, AI is a thing. Why the fuck are we still manually reviewing these phone calls to see what happens? And so I think this is really the core of the issue. If you could instantly see your client's ad accounts, so you knew which ones actually needed help with their ads, and then you could see what was happening after generating a lead, so you could see which clients need to be told, hey, you got to call your leads, you got to follow up more times, you got to be better on the phone, here's the script. If you could know who to actually follow up with, you could put all your attention to the clients that actually need help and reduce your churn. I'm not going to put any numbers to it because I don't know, but I would guess a huge amount. Like I said, I used to run an agency, but I never had a system like this when I was running my agency. So let's talk about how you can actually achieve this. Now, obviously, the first thing that you need is ad spend data. And of course, the difficulty here is HighLevel already has your client's ad spend data. If it's integrated into their sub account, which it probably is, then you can probably see their ad spend, but you have to click into each individual sub account to view that data. So it'd be nice if we could pull that out and put it into one Google Sheet or one dashboard so you could actually see per client, just all of your clients, what's their ad spend, cost per lead, and just see it in one place. Then we probably also want call transcripts, okay? Call transcripts, all right? Because if we can have call transcripts, then we can actually analyze that with AI, and we can figure out what's the quality of these leads, what's the quality of the sales conversations that are taking place, and we could basically do everything here that we need. So ad spend data and call transcripts. One more thing that you might want is message data, so outbound messages, because this isn't really possible natively with HighLevel. Both of these things you could do theoretically just inside of HighLevel, because you could use a trigger and then have this here. I'm going to draw a trigger here. That's a lightning bolt. So you could have, basically a trigger fire whenever, or actually not for ad spend, but for call transcripts, you could have a trigger fire whenever a call is completed, and then just have that drop into like a Google Sheet or something, and maybe like run it through some AI analysis in Make before you drop it into the Google Sheet. So that is definitely possible, but you still don't have outbound messages, which aren't really easy to get through HighLevel at all natively. So you need to build an app. And so I'll walk you through kind of what I've done to solve this problem. Okay, so what I did to solve this problem for myself, firstly, we build API v2 app. It's actually technically a marketplace app for Go HighLevel. So what you do is you build this app, and then you can get webhooks. So you get a webhook for inbound and outbound messages. And that allows you to basically, whenever your client is sending text, you can catch those messages, or whenever calls are made or answered, whatever, you can have the full data rather than just what you pull out of the workflow. So you can catch these webhooks and then forward those to some sort of backend to handle webhooks. All right. So for the backend, you could use something like N8N or Make is really popular. I personally just do it all in code because I want the full control and lower pricing. But you could definitely do this in N8N or Make. So you would handle these webhooks and then add it into something like Airtable, although Airtable is going to get really expensive. Google Sheets is a good kind of option for getting started. And so drop these data points into a table. All right. Now, the other thing you want is obviously the AI analysis on a phone call. So when a phone call is completed, you take that call transcript and you analyze it, you extract all the data that you want. But you might want to do something later, because let's say your client's talking with a lead, like the lead is created, you send an automated text message, and then they have a phone call. And on the phone call, the lead goes, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this. I just gotta, I gotta ask my wife. And they're giving off signals like they're not that interested. So your AI analysis is going to say, okay, this lead might not be the best quality. They give a lot of excuses. But then the next day, you get a text message from that lead that says, fuck it, dude. I'm ready to fucking go. Give me, send me the invoice, whatever. And you need to be able to catch that change in kind of the events. And so the difficult part is you can't analyze every single message. All right. That's just too expensive. Where we are right now with AI, it's just not economical. So you need a smart solution to basically look through contacts, evaluate when needed, okay? And so you could look through all of the contacts and see if they've had a recent message, and if they have, then you can analyze it, but you only do it after like 12 hours. So if there's some conversation there, then you don't instantly analyze every single message. There's like a delay there. So that's what I think you need. And then you would just have that update, your sheet. I'm going to show you how I've done this. And then, obviously this is how you would do it yourself. But I actually have an app that does this. Surprise, surprise. I mean, I know you're shocked to hear that. So this is what it looks like. All right. And I showed this at the beginning of the video. But basically what we have is our ad spend data for every sub account. So as you can see, I mean, I only have a couple of sub accounts. I only have one client here hanging on for dear life. But we have the ad spend for all of these accounts, and we actually have the ad account status, which is really nice, because if a payment method gets declined, leads completely stop, and so you want to know about that, right? And so in this case, we can see, yeah, this ad account has been switched to unsettled, and that just means their card got declined, right? So that's really good to see. Then we can also see things like total new contacts and valid leads. So that's like how many new contacts were created, and then how many of those were actually valid. So based on our AI analysis of these contacts, the lead form that they submitted, like if they submit a fake phone number or they're just spam, we can just exclude them. But if someone's an actual valid lead, then we want to know that, and we want to know how many valid leads are we actually getting our clients. Then we have the quality grade. So this analyzes every single lead and gives us an overall grade of those leads. And then we have things like touch rate, engagement rate, speed to lead, and median sales grade. So you can actually see what's happening in these sales conversations. Is my client dropping the ball, or are these leads actually shit? Which in this case, we can see they're pretty good. They're not that bad. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. I mean, obviously there's like some more info if we go down deeper, and we can see some of the contacts individually. We can read their sales grade and summaries and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too deep into that, because I really think that for most agencies, just having the overview and being able to tell like at a glance what's going on. Of course, you can go into their sub account or ad account when you need to figure out what the issue is. But I think just having this at an overview is going to save a lot of time. And I think, I don't know, the kind of paradoxical thing is like, this does save time, you know, and I think that reduces churn. But the big thing is what gets measured gets managed, right? And right now, most agencies, probably you included, don't measure this stuff, at least not in a really easy to access way. And so if it's not easy to access, it's not actually getting measured and it can't get managed. So as soon as things become easy to measure and you can just look at it at a glance and it's managed by AI, then you can actually manage it. You can reach out to the clients that need the most help, like for instance, this person's sales grade, and you can help them actually, you know, get results and not churn. So anyways, that's the video, and that's also the pitch. Click the link below. I have a link to this software where you can learn more about it, and you can book a demo call with me to basically for me to sell you on it. So anyways, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed, and talk to you in the next video.